Hey everyone. Hi Aries. Okay, anyone new to Opal Oracle, welcome. Anyone returning, hi. Now, Aries, welcome to your mid-month. I hope you enjoy the new space. I'm recording inside. It's new. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for being here. Now, Aries, what do I have to say? Everyone is receiving information of who came before them. Okay, there's probably something about it, whether it's in your chart, who you're dealing with, an aspect of what you can learn from, right? Of course, in addition to our opposite sign, which yours would be Libra. So, Taurus came before you. You actually have Uranus in your, right? Both of you are in separate houses. So let's see here. I came up with a new spread. So in your heart, cool. Stable heart, good. Soul, wow. Taurus actually also had this card. In your mind, nice. And then we have what you want. Which actually, this did fly out originally like this. We'll talk about that. But what you want, what you need. And then advice, you actually had 3 cards. So here's 1, 2, 3. Wow. So 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana out of 7 cards. Let me tune in for a second. Just want to see my notes. You have Saturn in your 10th house. Okay, your opposite Libra, that would make sense. Your opposite Libra has it in the 4th house. Now, the notes that I wrote down are career, squeeze out what does not suit, tests, success if you pass, ambition, right? Ambition, patience, responsibility. These are the words that I wrote down for you. It's interesting because you also have Uranus in your 2nd house, which is another earth. It's also having to do with career. So there's something really big for you in this, like whatever it is that you're doing. Well, Saturn rules karma. And as a side note, I don't know if any of you are interested, but I was just doing some research on how during the golden age, right? You know how we have like bronze, silver, golden. I'm sure this time will be like the plastic age, or that's my theory on it. But during the golden age, Saturn was actually seen as like the sun. And that's where Atum, the Egyptian god in a way, comes from, which is where we also receive Adam, like Adam and Eve, which basically represents the pole star that doesn't move, that's never moved, which proves that we don't live on a heliocentric model because it wouldn't work. So that's just something to think about as a side note. But more importantly, I guess it's about how things change, right? Saturn, from what I was reading, was literally in this golden age was seen as this like epic, loving, beautiful teacher, right? But at the end of this era, it switched into this Saturn being the one who like eats his own children, right? And like people sacrifice, when we still do this, there's still dark occult people that like sacrifice, literally kill children for Saturn. It's a proven fact. It's scary. A lot of our politicians do it. I don't know why I'm telling you all this stuff. I know actually in a way that most Aries don't like talking about this stuff. So maybe there's something about that where like reality is kind of coming at you in a way, but it's better to be aware and prepared, okay? Being in tune with what the reality of the situation is, and then understanding how to put yourself in a position that is more that is more in accordance to your highest self. Because we can talk about career or money, but really what does that break down to? Money breaks down to your stability, your well-being overall. How stable are you in who that you are, in what it is that you build, what it is that you create within this physical world, whether that's an actual physical object or a conversation or an energetic flow out, like from within you, outside of your body to the world. How in control are you of that? Now, for those of you who are younger than 35, Saturn is a wonderful teacher. It definitely is more challenging before the age of 35. It's about maturity, okay? Good girl, Zuni. Yeah, baby. It's about maturity. It's about learning the lesson, being excited about it, right? Like, kids don't like to learn things when they're forced. But usually those things that you're forced to do when you're a kid, when you're an adult, you actually are appreciative of them, right? Even if they were really hard. Even if it was things that we didn't like and it didn't feel good then, that's okay. Because what did you learn from that, right? So, that was a whole bunch of 7 minutes and 15 seconds. What's that, 12? That's a 13. That's the death card. That's a big transformation. I see that you have been going through and you are going through. So accept it, I heard, with whole heart, okay? Now, I like that there's an angel in your soul. This is Sagittarius's card, technically. You also have Cancer. This is actually Taurus, which is in your heart. That's good, because they also rule your resources, like your self-worth, right? Now, just a minute. It's like I just want to have a conversation with you instead of being so technical about the cards. By July, you're going to have a greater understanding to your alignment of your soul's purpose. And if you are accepting, whoa. Want to see something cute? She's so tiny. Sometimes I forget how little she is. If you are ultimately accepting of what has happened, what is happening, and open to what could happen, and excited, about the newness of wherever it is that you're going, and knowing that you are the driver, right? You are the driver. But the driver determines how fast you go. And Saturn and Capricorn and Taurus, they're all kind of slow. Okay? So you're not going to get there going 90 miles an hour. It's not how you build something strong. Saturn is father time, so they say. Okay? So what you need to do in a way to become more aligned and in tune with your soul's purpose is to slow down until July. When July comes around, when Cancer season starts, you're going to understand your needs a little bit more. And in that, have some sort of expression that's a little more tempered. Like, because you're Aries, you're like, in a way, sometimes you do, I want what I want. I want what I want. But sometimes that attitude gets you this, right? Has gotten you this. When what you really wanted was this, right? Love, emotional fulfillment, good times, hoorah. Actually, hoorah is a marine term, right? Sorry about that. But you know what I mean? There's something about, well, I heard maturity. Because really, how do we get more of what we need? Well, by learning how to ask better for what we want. What we truly, and then determining really what's the difference between want and need. Taurus also had this, which makes sense that you're coming after them. Okay? Now, the advice is, Cancer also rules the mother, which is the opposite. Okay, if you're having any issues with your coming up, emotional things that are coming up, particularly when it comes to your self-worth in relation to, your 10th house represents the father, your opposite Libra has it in their 4th house in Cancer. Okay, so the mother and the father. How you find solace, and here's a little astrological hint, and it's only if you're open to it. The opposite, your opposite sign and whatever's going on there, well, that is affecting you too, and it will give you a few of the keys to some of the doors. You may not know where those doors are yet, but you'll at least have the key, so when you arrive there, you're like, oh, let me try this one out. Oh, that does open this. Cool. And what did that open? Something opens, right? You open a portal. Maybe. So you can understand something better and close it out. Something that you already know needs to be closed out. Your mind already understands something very, in an extremely, I couldn't even verbalize it right there. There was no way for me to articulate what it is that you understand internally about whatever it is that's going on and whatever it is that you're closing out. Maybe that's because it's your own internal process and it's not necessarily for anyone else. I mean, granted, whatever's going on with you, whatever we heal in ourselves, right? It does help other people who's around us, right? It affects how we give and receive to each other, the way that we give and receive to ourselves. How patient are we with ourselves? Are we in a rush? What for? What are we in a rush for? Your heart's letting you know not to be in a rush about anything. This is also Taurus's card, like I said. Whatever you're trying to manifest, that you know in your heart you want to manifest into this physical world, where you have to go slowly, one step at a time. You have to also make sure that you have your shadow in check. Because when our shadow... I've been doing this every time. totally have my grandfather's hands on my father's side. Seven o'clock. What you need. Let's talk about Cancer for a second. Well, they rule the home. So what you need is a comfortable home. I see you need a home that you can financially afford, that's comfortable to handle it, right? The fourth house also represents privacy. So I see you as an independent person. You need your own private time, okay? It's important for you to have your own private time. That's actually really healthy for everyone. Anybody who doesn't like being alone usually doesn't like feeling whatever feelings they have. Which, by the way, Cancer represents I feel. That's their motto. So it's really important, if this is your I need, for you to express, you need to express how you feel. Okay? If you try to pull the Cancer, I'm going to stay in my crab and I'm not going to talk about it, even though I have so much going on in my soul that I just want, there's so much going on inside. Well, you have to get it out somehow. Okay? A lot of these cards are very internal. Now, it could just mean that during this time, it's more of an internal time. The fourth house, Cancer, also represents your early upbringing, okay, and your later part of life. So there's a need for you to assess that. But your mind already knows what you need, and so does your heart. And your soul is ascending. I see that. I see that your faith in God, or whatever it is that you connect to, will bring your relationship to God is going to become tighter. Okay? It's going to become more stable. It's like, instead of just going to God, or whatever, when I say God, by the way, take it as you may, there is no word that can describe God. I just use God because, well, there aren't any human words to describe it, so here we are. Point is, I don't need to explain myself to you. Just like if someone wanted to come at you in some kind of way, you don't need to explain yourself either. If you want to, you can. But remember that when we do that, that's the root chakra, being afraid. Right? I had this like sharp pain in my belly. So I don't want you to worry or to have stress. Don't worry about what anyone thinks. Okay? I want you to care for yourself. I want you to know that you are safe, you are loved, and you are protected. If you can learn to express what it is that you need in a more tempered way, I see one way that you go about that is, instead of just praying to God for something that you need, it's about praying to God to ask what they need, what He needs. What can I do for you? What can I do for you, God? It's about being selfless. Being appreciative for this existence, right? Because this existence and this vessel is a flash in the pan in the grand scheme. So Why are you trying to go so fast anyway? Easy, right? Easy. Put your toes in the water. Sometimes what magic is just being one with your environment. Taurus actually had these two, and I think I mentioned this earlier, but these are all really quiet cards. Okay? And the only swords you have, which represent your communication, are really quiet too. And I see, again, once July hits and Cancer season starts moving along, well, wherever you're going in this healing process, I see that when you arrive on the shore, when you arrive to land, you receive a wonderful blessing to create, and I see that you pick it up. I see that you make it to shore. Okay? You're not going to sink. This is a slow card though, so I want you to remember to have patience. That's what Taurus is also about. They're like, what are you building towards, what do you want your 25-year yield to be? It's not about, like I was telling Scorpio, it's not about what you can get done today or this week. You know, you rush in to get all this to show what you've done, but you don't have to. Right, this time right now is about a reassessment. Being like, okay, what works for me, what doesn't? What works for me and what doesn't? Where am I impatient? Where is it that I tend to react, be reactionary, but I know that I'm only reactionary in that way because I reserve a lot of my feelings, that I probably received this reactionary process from your father, your mother, right? This 10th, 4th house. You're just figuring all that out. I see that you watching Libra's video would really be helpful to you to understand how to get what it is that you need. Okay, each one of you, again, has the key to the portal, but your mind already knows that. You know, Gemini also represents your siblings, and like your neighborhood. So maybe you're just keeping your circle kind of close right now. You know, like maybe you're not traveling too far, and where you are traveling is sort of in your vicinity. But like, what can you learn from there? Because you don't have to go 1,000 miles away to learn something. You know, Mother Nature gives us messages every single day, all the time. But we have to, again, magic sometimes is just being in tune and being one with everything around us. Let's do a word oracle, huh? Aries. I just use bananagrams. I love Scrabble. I don't have anyone to play with though. It's harder than playing chess by yourself or backgammon. Aries. Huh. Well, you received all consonants. I've always had a hard time saying that word. It was just 25. What's that, 14? Sagittarius again. So I actually see this radio station called WMPG. WMPG. It's a local radio station in Maine. But with the internet nowadays, I think you can kind of tune in to radio stations in other places, right? Even if you're in another country or another state, right? So I think it's WMPG.org. I'm going to write it down for you. They have a really nice, there's a couple different music programs that you can tune into, or you can see like the backlog. So there might be something about that where, because it's a local radio station, right? So a lot of it is just kind of like those folks there and what they are digging on, right? Like what their vibe, what do they vibe with? What is the, I heard what's the protocol? What's the situation? I also see that you're going to win in your finances. I also see where you're going in ways of your healing. You will go there and you will reach the finish line, okay? It's like you're coming to you're starting to understand the point. And that also reminds me of Harry Nilsson's The Point, which is an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, I would highly suggest it. It's actually a cartoon, but Ringo Starr narrates it. It's really sweet, actually. The soundtrack, too. He was a wonderful composer of music, and he had perfect pitch until he partied too hard. But anyway, there is no such thing as the pointless forest, right? Everyone has a point. Everything has a point. There are no mistakes in life. So if we can come to that understanding, well then moving forward will be a lot easier, because we'll know that everything is a blessing, right? Even if we have to wait a little bit. I mean, knowing everything exactly how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, is no fun. Trust me on that. All right. I'm going to go love my dogs. Take care. Bye.